very special guest here with me. Nick is somebody we've known here at Old Merkau for many years. I mean, when did we first meet? Maybe a decade ago?
More than a decade.
Probably, yeah. And Nick is the owner of GQ Classics here in PE. And he, with his team, restores and markets really unusual old Mercs. And what he's bought us today, Nick, what have you bought us today?
A 1970 300 SEL 6.3.
How cool is that? And a beautiful, beautiful car. I mean, we were walking around it just now and you're talking about it. A bit of the history of the car?
So the car, from my understanding, came from a farm somewhere up in the Free State.
Okay.
And then a collector in Durbanville,
Okay.
Western Cape, bought
Okay.
the car. Quite a prominent collector, and he had a
Yeah.
beautiful collection. And he had it for many years.
Yeah.
I'd say 10, 15 years
Okay.
plus.
Okay.
And then the car found its way to Port Elizabeth.
Okay.
And is now also owned by a very prominent collector of Mercedes-Benzes.
Okay, here in PE.
Yes.
And you've been working through it for a while now. Just bringing
About
it up
1
to
or
scratch.
2 years. I'm
Okay.
pretty much custodian of the car, so
Okay.
I'll keep the car running, drive it every now
Fantastic.
and then.
Yeah.
If there is a mechanical issue
Yeah, you
here
sort
and
it
there,
out.
I'll sort it out for the owner.
Brilliant. And we'll chat about the sort of work that you've been doing on it. But just a very special car. And you were saying they were never built here. Though the 108s were built here in South
Yes.
Africa, these never were. And a handful came in.
Very few numbers came in, but they're more around than what you would think.
Okay.
In total, there's about 6,526.
Okay.
I stand under correction, built globally.
6.3s.
6.3s.
This would be the short wheelbase.
This is the long wheelbase
Okay,
because
okay.
the 108s was the standard wheelbases,
Okay.
and the 109s,
Okay.
W109s,
Okay.
with the long wheelbases badged as the SEL.
Okay. Now the
Well,
109s.
300 SELs. Only the 109s were 300 SELs.
Okay.
But you also did get long wheelbases in the 108s.
Okay.
But they were still classified as a 108.
That would have been a 280 SEL or something like that.
Yes, with the steel suspension. This has air suspension.
Okay, so that's the defining thing, the air suspension and the fact that it's a V8?
Yes.
Okay.
And also, if you look at the rear doors, there's a chrome trim around the edges.
Okay, well, let's take a look at that as we walk around. So that would be, I can see. Firstly, you can see it's the long wheelbase by the extended, the longer back door.
It's about 10 centimeters long.
Okay.
And also what sets the 109s apart from everybody else is this beautiful chrome trimming around the doors.
Of course, that would have been painted on the 108.
Yes.
Okay, just bare.
Yes.
Yeah. And I was looking inside. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. This is what a velour type of.
This was very popular overseas, the velour option,
Yeah.
and this interior has actually stood the test of time very well, and is 100% original.
It's funny that we didn't get it here, and I've seen this sort of fabric even used later in 123s and 126s, and it's something we never got here. I mean, we got the MB text and we got obviously leather,
Yes.
a bit of fabric, but not much.
You did get like a cloth option as
Yeah.
well, but funny enough, the velour was the more expensive option over leather
I can believe it.
back then.
And I mean, it's, as you say, it certainly stood the test of time. I mean, this is what, 53 years old,
Yes.
isn't it? 55. It's 1970.
55, yes.
55. And I mean, in terms of standard equipment, it looks very, very high spec as well. Maybe perhaps chat about that. I see it's got electric windows all around.
Well, I'll run you through
Yeah.
what your standard East London built 108 doesn't have.
Yeah,
So it's got
that's a great thing to do. Yeah.
it's got the Bosch factory air suspension system.
Okay.
You can adjust the height. You can raise it by about 50 mils. You've got the air conditioning system. You've got your 4-speed automatic.
Okay.
Your electric windows, front and rear. Factory central locking, which works off of vacuum.
That's it. It's incredible. Back in 1970. Eh?
Yes.
Wow.
And then you've also got your power steering. Okay, most 108s had them with power steering fitted, and also you've got a limited slip diff,
Okay.
which is a nice touch.
And I see the 15-inch bunts. That would have been
Yes.
standard on them as well.
That, I believe that was also an option,
Okay.
But most people, would upgrade the rims and then you would lose the 15-inch. They're quite a scarce novelty now.
I know, you just don't see them, hey?
Mm.
I mean, other than, what did they actually come standard in? I think it was the 116 6.9.
Yes.
And anything else?
You could get some 107s.
Okay, with the 15s as well.
I've seen them. I've seen some. No, see, if you look at the part numbers on the inside of the rims,
Yeah.
most of them I've seen is 107.
Okay.
So it's a clear indication that it was built for the 107.
Absolutely, yeah. And then just used on the 116 and wherever else.
But it's possible. Well, I stand under correction. I believe you could opt the 15-inch when new, prior to obviously the 107 runs, because when this car discontinued, the 107 wasn't even out.
True. The other thing that stands out to me is the burr walnut.
Yes.
We didn't have that. Certainly not on the doors, and on the dashes I don't think on a 108 it wasn't burr walnut, it was Zebrano type of
looking. It's standard veneer looking wood, but the 109s, they offered quite a variety of grains, in the wood. It didn't have to be burr walnut. Like my 6.3, so 69 model, it's actually got just the plain type of wood, not the burl. You could also get it in walnut.
Okay.
I mean ebony.
Okay. But it's really, I mean, this really stands out to me. And what magnificent condition as well. Is that something you've done on it, or is it original?
The interior on this car is totally original.
Really, huh? That's incredible.
The mileage is believed to be about 65,000 kilometers.
That's crazy, hey? Let's have a look at the engine bay as well, and we can chat about that a bit.
I'll open up.
The double headlights, that would have been standard on it as well.
Yes.
Okay. What else came with those? Because I'm not that familiar with 108s, and I know right at the end of production here in South Africa, didn't they introduce those in 72 as the standard?
I believe in 72 most 108 280 SEs had them standard.
Okay.
The double stacked headlights.
Do I need to do this on now? Okay. It's incredible that they shoehorned this V8 into basically a 108, 109 engine bay, huh?
We must remember this engine and gearbox actually came from the W100 600.
Okay.
That was Mercedes limousine at the time, which was a much bigger car than this.
The Grosser.
The Grosser.
Okay,
correct.
so it's exactly the same engine as that. Okay.
Pretty much, yes. But they managed to fit it in with, you can see, with great difficulty. I've removed my engine from my car, and it's not an easy task.
No, I can believe it. And I mean, this is obviously a subframe as well, like all the other 108s.
It's exactly the same.
Yeah. And I mean, to access most things, well, it's pretty accessible. I mean, unless you want to change a steering box or something over here.
It's a bit challenging, more so, with the spark plugs and that, but routine maintenance is not a problem.
You were chatting about the fuel injection system before we started filming here, and that you'd had that overhauled as well.
Yes.
Worked through that.
Yes.
And also a very specialized sort of person that can do that, I guess.
Yes. TW Diesel, the founder Rolf, he did this fuel injection system for me on the car. I actually drove the car up to him.
Oh, really?
And
that must have been an awesome road trip, eh?
Unbelievable. Like, it's actually, you have to experience it yourself to actually really appreciate the ride quality and the build quality of this car. But it went to Witbank, no problems.
Okay.
Just couldn't pass the filling station.
Yeah,
but you've got a big engine to feed in front.
Yeah, and I'm sure. Yeah, this thing, fuel consumption, but it's irrelevant. It's not that sort of thing at all. And then you also mentioned that the air suspension that these do have. I mean, that's something that you've worked through completely as well.
So all the air suspension components, from the compressor, the leveling valves, the main valves, I imported that from the States, from an expert who actually specializes on these systems.
Yeah.
So that's been completely renewed. A lot of the rubber hoses for the air suspension were also renewed. The air chamber tank was also refurbished. as well. Now to jump from the air suspension to the suspension itself,
Yeah.
we did all the rubber mountings, everything was imported from Europe.
Okay.
Engine mount, subframe mount, gearbox mount, diff mount, you name it.
And the availability of parts, those sort of, they're obviously very specialized. There weren't
Yes.
a lot of these built. Did you battle to source or?
So far, with the encounterment of my 6.3 and this one,
Yeah.
all the parts are available.
Which is incredible, actually.
They are scarce, but they are
Yeah.
available after all this time.
Yeah. Incredible, eh? And the aircon system, that would be, has it got a York compressor or?
It's got the York compressor and the system is bare.
Okay. What an absolutely beautiful car. In terms of bodywork, have you done anything there, or painting or paintwork?
Well, with the current owner, no.
Okay.
We've done nothing. We've only had the car professionally detailed, you know.
And it
About
needs
2
nothing.
years ago.
It needs
But
nothing. It really does look good.
She's in exceptional condition, you know, for her age, you know. But you can tell she's been well looked after her whole life.
That's really a beautiful example. I think the only thing left to do is take it for a drive, see how it goes.
Let's go.
Let's go. The old Merca warehouse here. What a beautiful car. I mean, it's just... I think it feels like new to me. Yeah?
It's a
Real time warp.
it's a time warp, and it's for its age, you know, also the mileage and that it's quite special.
Yeah, I feel presidential here.
Yes.
I really do. I mean, I'm used to driving cars where nobody gives me any gap in the traffic and stuff. This is the exact opposite of that.
Yeah.
You were chatting just now about the air suspension. I actually asked you the difference because I'm not really that familiar with them at all. And I see it now. I mean, it's far more compliant and far more absorbing than it is on a standard 108.
No, for sure. It's, to me, look, I've driven many 108s before and I'm quite familiar with them. I grew up with them.
Yeah.
Just the road feel is so much more superior on the 109s.
Yeah.
It completely irons out the bumps. There's less, feel from the road going through the body of the car. It's a more controlling ride and feel as well.
Absolutely, and the epitome of luxury, this. And nice to see the rev counter as well. Was that a standard thing? I would assume it would have been here in the 6.3.
All 6.3s had the rev counter.
Okay.
Opposed to the clock.
Yeah.
That we are more fondly known of with the 6 cylinders.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I came across one decades ago that somebody had put the rev counter in there in a 280 SE.
Yes.
And it's such a nice addition. Then obviously the clock moves down to here,
Yes.
the bottom. And that would have been the original Becker as well.
The original Becker Grand Prix from the days.
And I like the way, I mean, this was also pretty much a 108 thing where the aircon was underneath the dash when it had when it had an aircon fitted, it would have been there.
Yes, and what's nice about this aircon unit from Bear, it's incorporated into the dash. It's one piece.
I see that. Okay, so it actually is, yeah.
You know,
It's not a hang on, yeah.
You know, because I'm sure you're also familiar with it over the years. The 108s, well, from back in the day, you could fit aftermarket aircon units. That was just a unit under the dash.
Absolutely.
But you could see it wasn't meant for the car.
Exactly, yeah.
It's much more neater and
integrated,
slimline.
And it's really comfortable here.
Comfortable, quiet. But they paid more attention to sound dampening.
Yeah.
The 109s. I can see that compared to the 108s.
Yeah, just in terms of wind noise and stuff like that. We'll see when we get onto Seaview Road here and pick up speed a bit. But I mean, it certainly sounds subjectively a lot quieter than the 108s that we've driven recently. And that torque, wow! I'm just touching the throttle and it just wants to go, yeah?
There's no need for this gearbox to downshift.
No.
Just touch that that accelerator pedal and you just pushed away with grace.
Okay, in terms of power outputs, what in terms of horsepower and in terms of torque on these 6.3s?
I'll stand under correction. They range between, well, depending on the markets as well, because compression ratios changed.
Sure, and obviously there were anti-pollution stuff put in and stuff like that.
No, for the American market, but
Yeah.
they range between 250 and 300 horsepower.
Okay.
And it was about over 500 Newton meters of torque, but it was low down grunt.
Yeah. Well, let's have a look. Okay, so here it's barely revving at 500 revs, so I'm not going to accelerate hard, but I'll just get it straighter. Wow, and that's changing at 2000.
Yes.
Hey?
Going up a long hill, the car will never downshift. It will stay in fourth gear.
That's incredible, hey? I mean, there we go, we're doing 100 and it's revving at 2,500 revs. For a 1970 car, hey?
It's unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. I mean, those are the days when 120, the norm in your average, luxury sedan, your Mercedes or your whatever it is, it would have been revving at 4,200 revs, 4,500 revs.
For sure.
It just feels rock steady at 100, eh?
Well, back in the day, you could cruise at 180, 200 km an hour.
I'm sure you could.
I think the rated top speed was about 224 kilometers an hour.
Which is crazy. I mean, that's sports car fast for 1970.
It was the fastest four-door production sedan when it came out. And most Ferraris, Porsches, Lamborghinis, Maseratis, you name it, couldn't keep up with this
No,
car.
I can believe it. And in terms of acceleration as well, I'm sure it was way under, probably, 7-8 seconds to 100 maybe?
It's about 6 to 6.5 seconds.
Which is crazy, yeah. And I was reading a car test, old car magazine the other day, and was testing something like Ferrari or something. I think it was 8.5 seconds to 100, yeah. Let's sort of see here. Okay, so we're doing 100. So I'm just going to accelerate a bit to get it up to 120 and just see. Wow, hey? Just like that. Well,
It's instant.
No kick down, no nothing. It just goes. That's actually very addictive.
The kick down is always there, but you never need to use it.
Okay, so doing 80 and we're revving at 2000. I'll do the same thing without kicking down. 100. Wow, 120. And I'm not pushing the accelerator flat at all. I'm just like...
There's instant torque. These M100 motors were beautifully designed. The power output, the ratios, to me, as a petrolhead, it's all well balanced.
And the gearbox as well. I mean, the gearbox was 4-speed the norm in 108s? I think it was, eh?
It's essentially a 108 gearbox, but it's beefed up to deal with the torque.
Okay.
Because now this is interesting. So you only can engage first gear by manually putting it into 2 on the gear selector, or from a stop you put your foot down and engage a kick down.
Yeah.
But there's so much power from the motor itself. There's a very high risk that you stand blowing up the gearbox.
I'm sure. Yeah, just with that additional torque, yeah. And I can't see any reason why you'd want to put it in first. I mean, there's so much just instant, as you said, just instant power. You just touch the thing and it goes. We're a petrol head Mercedes, actually, yeah?
Yes. What's nice about this 6.3, it's an original factory red.
Yeah.
You don't see them. Well, I haven't seen
What is it called, the color?
I'm not too sure exactly, but I think in the paint catalog it's Mercedes-Benz red.
Okay. We'll keep it nice and simple.
Yes.
Days before they came out with all these other color reds.
Yes. But back in the day there was many color options for these cars. There was metallics as well.
something I wasn't, or I'm not familiar with. This motor, was it ever put in the coupe as well?
Never.
Never. Okay.
The 111 coupe is the largest motor fitted was a 3.5 liter.
Okay, the V8 as well.
Yes.
Okay.
But they did experiments back in the day at Mercedes fitting this motor to the Pagoda.
Okay.
But
Wow.
they only made one, from what I've read up. But they pulled the plug on that experiment, due to the fact that the car was actually uncontrollable.
Oh, I'm sure it was. I mean,
They even fitted the air suspension to the Pagoda
Really,
to
eh?
try and help, but it was just too nose heavy.
That must have been a gem. Well, I think, Belts, you've got to take this for a drive and just experience. I mean, what a unique, beautiful car.
Okay.
I'm going to pull over here somewhere and we can swap over quick.
Cool.
Okay, so Bella, you've taken over driving here.
Yeah,
What do you think, eh?
it's really beautiful.
A beautiful car.
Lovely to drive.
I mean, you hadn't, until quite recently, you hadn't even driven a 108,
No.
I don't think. And then, we had a couple that came through that we did videos on, and now this 109.
Yeah.
How's the torque, eh?
Sure.
So Nick, what other cars are you currently working on?
The team has got a 1982 280 CE.
Okay.
There's other odds and ends that aren't Mercedes. There's a 1973 XJ6 Jag,
Okay.
a 1958 Rolls Royce Silver Cloud,
Okay.
a 1929 Chevrolet as well. There's always interesting stuff in the garage.
Yeah, you've always got. I mean, every time you come past our place, you're always in something different. What have you got? Is it a Cadillac or the black, big black American car?
So that's my 1959 Chrysler Imperial.
Ah, that's it. Okay. Yeah.
Well, there's actually quite a lot of debate about it, funny enough, because the Imperial division separated from Chrysler.
Yeah.
At the time, they were already separated, so it's actually just an Imperial.
Okay.
An Imperial LeBaron.
Okay. Also a stunning car.
No, they just did things better back in the day, in my opinion.
Oh, they did, hey. It's a different philosophy, They built things that were just a better quality, that were designed to last.
They were just better, in every way, design, in the way they designed them.
Yeah.
And they were not oversimplistic vehicles.
Yeah. No, they were incredibly advanced for the time.
In terms of advancement, yes. A lot of the Americans were way ahead of everyone else in the 50s.
Yeah.
Most of their cars had self-dimming headlights, cruise control, a speed limiter, and obviously aircon power steering.
Yeah, all of those sort of things.
Automatic, electric seats. But size-wise, with Mercedes-Benz, when you take their biggest four-door sedan
Yeah.
of the time and you compare it to an American car, it's like half the size.
Yeah, I know. It's a compact car.
Compact.
Yeah. Now, this is very cool. Nick, thanks so much for bringing it past and taking us for a drive in it. And it is for sale as well. And I'm going to share Nick's contact details in the description of this video. So if you're interested in finding out more, if you have any questions, please just drop him a WhatsApp or an email or give him a phone call. And yeah, man, you'll happily advise there. And yeah, thanks again, man.
Thank you, old Merkai.